Right now, at this exact second, every human being on Earth vanishes. Not dies, vanishes. Cars still rolling, coffee still warm, 8 billion phone screens still glowing in empty rooms. No explosion, no warning, no goodbye. The planet doesn't notice for about 3 seconds. Then, all at once, it begins taking everything back. This is not a story about how we end. It's a story about what 200 years of Earth without us actually looks like. Hour by hour, year by year, monument by monument. The first days are the loudest. Within hours, power grids start failing. They were never automatic, just endlessly babysat. Wind farms spin on alone for a while, but city by city, the lights go out in waves, and for the first time in over a century, the night side of Earth goes truly dark. From orbit, the planet looks like it did in 1850. Within a week, the last diesel generators cough out. In the subways of New York, the pumps that pushed out 13 million gallons of groundwater every single day fall silent. The tunnels begin to drink. 5 years without us. Streets are no longer streets, they're shallow green rivers. Grass splits the asphalt of Times Square. The billboards went dark years ago, and their steel frames are already streaked orange. This is the era of fire and flood. With no one to put them out, lightning burns entire suburbs to mineral ash, and every burn scar becomes a nursery for pioneer weeds. Household dogs have sorted themselves brutally. The small breeds are gone. The survivors run in packs that look more like wolves every season. 10 years in, the water wins its first major victory. London's Thames barrier, unmaintained, fails during a winter storm surge, and the river reclaims its ancient floodplain. Westminster stands in a marsh. In Moscow and Chicago, freeze-thaw cycles have shattered roads into gravel. Windows begin to fall from skyscrapers like leaves, each pane a small glittering avalanche onto forest floors that used to be avenues. 20 years. This is when the farm animals' descendants and the wild meet in the middle. Cattle herds roam the American plains again like reborn bison. In Europe, wild boar own the cities. And here's the strange, beautiful part. The most dangerous places we left behind become the wildest. The lesson was already written before we vanished. Within decades of the Chernobyl accident, its exclusion zone had become one of Europe's most thriving wildlife refuges. Wolves, lynx, and bears walking through abandoned kitchens. Now, every city on Earth is running that same experiment. 50 years without us, and the skylines start to kneel. Steel-framed towers were designed to be repainted, resealed, rewired, forever. Without that, rust eats the joints. The first super-tall collapses aren't explosions, they're exhales. A Miami tower, its foundations soaked in salt water, folds sideways into a lagoon that used to be Collins Avenue. The Eiffel Tower still stands, Paris is drier, but it has bled so much iron oxide that the Champ de Mars beneath it is stained the color of dried blood. The Golden Gate Bridge sags. Its cables, engineered to be repainted continuously, are snapping strand by strand, each break echoing across an empty bay like a rifle shot. 100 years. A person teleported here wouldn't say, abandoned city. They'd say, forest with ruins. Manhattan is a wetland forest of cottonwood and oak growing through collapsed grids of rusted beams. Dubai is the opposite. The desert never even had to fight. The Burj Khalifa stands nearly intact above an ocean of dunes that swallowed the streets, the tallest gravestone ever built. Concrete everywhere is failing, not from above but from within. Every winter, water in its pores freezes and pries it apart, crumb by crumb. The ocean, meanwhile, is louder than it has been in centuries. Whale populations, freed from ship noise and nets, have tripled. 200 years. Almost nothing we built still reads as built. The survivors are the oldest things. The pyramids, solid stone in a dry desert, barely notice the centuries. The Hoover Dam still holds, a monolith of concrete that may outlast every skyscraper combined. Mount Rushmore's granite faces will stare over a wild continent for hundreds of thousands of years, the longest-lasting portrait humanity ever made, watched only by mountain goats. And in a frozen mountainside in the Arctic, the Svalbard seed vault quietly guards 1 million crop varieties for farmers who will never come. But here's what 200 years cannot erase. The carbon we exhaled will warm the sky for tens of thousands of years. Plastic has entered the sediment, a thin, permanent stripe that any future geologist could find, the signature of a species that stayed briefly and wrote in stone anyway. And on the moon, where there is no wind and no rain, a set of boot prints sits in the dust, looking exactly as fresh as the day they were made. Earth without us doesn't fall apart. It exhales, it floods, it greens, it forgets. 200 years is all it takes for the planet to stop looking like ours. The strange comfort is this: we were never holding it up. We were only holding it back.